I'm going to record. Hello, thank you very much. I'm a man called Dave. I'm at the Rossum Juice Bar in Bandon, Oregon, and this is the first installment of Coos Freedom Friday. Now, like I said, freedom is subjective. Everybody has a different idea of freedom. My goal is to express my idea of freedom, share my thoughts, kind of where I'm at in the world in Coos County, Oregon. And then I'll have an opportunity for others to share their thoughts, ask their questions, and also their ideas of what freedom means to them. And so, no obligation to join. If nobody shares, that's okay. I'm going to send this out to all my friends and family. And the goal is for us to gather momentum. So, because this is my opportunity to share my thoughts, I want to share my thoughts on the flag that I have behind me is the civil flag of peacetime. From my understanding, we have not seen this flag been flown publicly since before the Civil War. Now, my opinion and what I've learned is that our country, which is the United States of America, is actually a corporation. It's a federal corporation. They incorporated themselves to relieve themselves of liability. And now that means that we have an opportunity to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, except for it doesn't stand, not from what I've seen. I'm 35 years old. And in my 35 years, I grew up in California. I remember seeing the Republic of California flag flown at my school growing up, except for it disappeared. And I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened to the Republic. Here in Oregon, where I stand, we are restoring the Republic. It's not easy, it's a very difficult task, mostly because people are indoctrinated into their belief systems. They still pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. They don't realize that they're pledging allegiance to a fictitious, fraudulent corporation doing business as government. And that's where I have the problem because if you zoom in to local government, you have the city of fill in the blank, the county of fill in the blank, and those are also corporations under the umbrella of the United States of America. And since most people do not want to believe what I'm saying is true, what I've done is I've found on Google, you can find it, is 28 US code. So if you go to the Cornell Law website, where you get all your legal definitions under US Code 28, Section 3002, and you scroll down to subsection 15, this is under definitions. So they've already told you person includes a natural person, including an individual Indian, a corporation. So a person could mean corporation under the legal definition, could be a partnership, an unincorporated association, a trust is a person, or an estate, or any other public or private entity, including a state or local government or Indian tribe. So a local government is considered a person under the legal definition. And if you scroll down to 15, subsection 15, it says the United States means a federal corporation, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States or an instrumentality of the United States. So right here, a federal corporation. And corporation is a what, it's not a who. And if we go over here to the Pledge of Allegiance, then it says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. But if that's a federal corporation, then I don't want to pledge my allegiance to any federal corporation. Okay. The idea is that I would rather pledge my allegiance to the republic for which it stands. Now, what if it doesn't stand? That's our job to restore the republic. And it says one nation under God. But even that is debatable nowadays because it seems like we're a nation without God. And somebody sent me this video. It's, of course, just a Facebook reshare, but this lady from the California fires is wearing an upside down cross. in her interview. So most people are not doing these things unintentionally. They're not accidental. These are public figures out in the public doing displays of allegiance. So she's broadcasting her allegiance to the world, and that's fine. She has freedom of religion. That's what we're fighting for, is freedom of religion. But who are these people who are in charge? Who are we electing, or who is being selected into our local government? And if our local government is a federal corporation doing business as, what about County of Coos? I've already looked into this. They have a Dun and Bradstreet number, which is a credit reporting agency for all corporations. And when you have a Dun and Bradstreet profile, it tells you how long they've been incorporated. It says how many employees they have and how many subsidiary companies they also have under their umbrella. And County of Coos has quite a few. City of Bandon has also, the police department is a subsidiary corporation under City of Bandon. So two separate corporations posing as government. That's fraud. Now, when I send notice of liability, and I don't claim to be a person, I don't claim to be a citizen or a resident. I claim to be a man called David, and my family is Zaragoza. So under the law, a person could mean a corporation. So if I were to claim to be a person, then they could reclassify me as an incorporated person without my consent. But since I don't argue or object, then that means I've given my consent. And most of the time, we give our consent to be governed by a federal corporation without knowledge. We don't know what we're doing. Anytime we give our license or our name or our date of birth, we're giving tacit agreement to be consent, to be governed. Now, what I'm promoting is not democracy. What I'm promoting is for us to separate ourselves from the fiction, to know who we are and where we stand. And where I want to stand is under the republic, because we don't have that option. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible. I don't think we're indivisible. I think we've been tremendously divided. And most of us we don't know what peace looks like. We've not seen it since before the Civil War, or maybe even way beyond that. Now, most of us are still clinging to this idea that we have to pledge allegiance just because it's what our grandfathers did and what our fathers did and what our soldiers have died for. But what about the Magna Carta, which gave individual sovereign rights to men and women? And then, of course, we go to the Declaration of Independence. Who did we declare independence from? The monarchy, the British, of course, the king, who was like a false king, right? Because most of these founding fathers were followers of Christ. They're Christians. And they believed that they only had to answer to one authority. One authority is their author. And there's a rule that says that we control that which we create. So if most of us are giving our consent up to a federal corporation and we're doing so without full knowledge, it's mostly due to the fact that we're not doing our own research. And so there is a constitution for the United States and there's a constitution of the United States. Those are different. And if you don't even know that there's two, then you might have to catch up. You've got some work to do. The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments in the Constitution. And the Bill of Rights give you the right to your freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom to assemble. And that's what we're doing. This is the Oregon General Jural Assembly of men and women. And ours is Coos County Petite Jural Assembly. We're under the umbrella of the OGJA. And the Petite Jural Assembly is made up of men and women who inhabit the land called Coos County. Now, someone asked me, are we going to learn how to be a free person? And as I described, a person under the legal definition could mean a corporation or a trust or any type of entity, because the 14th Amendment granted citizenship to all persons. Well, but what if the federal government wanted natural rights under the law? So they created this definition of person to also include corporations. Well, now the US corporation, aka the government, has natural rights under the 14th Amendment as a citizen. That's fraud. And that's exactly what's happened. Now, we can even go deeper into that. There's a trust law, in God we trust. It says on all of our Federal Reserve notes, in God we trust. So who's the beneficiary of the trust? Who's the trustee? Who's the executor? Now, in the executor, there's also a creator or a settlor. That OR at the end generally has to do with trust law. Now, the banks, the state, the corporation is supposed to be trustee, which makes us beneficiary. They flipped it. They made us trustee unknowingly so they could benefit. And that's the scam. So for me, the goal is to how do we obtain beneficiary status under the natural law? Because that's where it all comes down, divine law, the law that comes from our creator, our authority. My goal is to pledge allegiance to a different flag, to the civilian flag of peacetime, which is a representative of our republic. This flag represents a free population of men and women. My goal is to make this flag more known rather than the war flag, the military war flag that has been flown since the Civil War. I've got these books. The first one is the Black's Law Dictionary book, where most of our legal definitions are not lawful. This is a lawful book of definitions. Jurisdiction. So if we're trying to claim jurisdiction over the land, juris means the rule of, and diction means words, the rule of words. My goal is to learn the definitions of the words so I don't become hoodwinked, right? Because this legalese is its own language. And if we don't speak legalese, then it's easy for us to be taken advantage of, or we have to hire an attorney or some kind of representative to represent us in court. And the definition of to attorn, like an attorney, means to take property from one and give to another. And that's all they do. Well, what if I'm the property? What if my unalienable rights given to me by God at my birth, my inheritance, is my property that these attorneys give from one to another? And it's all done with my consent or my tacit agreement unknowingly. That's fraud. My goal is to eliminate the fraud, restore the republic, and also help men and women understand that they were born free and that they're free today as they breathe, where they stand, so long as they don't give that freedom up to another accidentally or on purpose, or accidentally on purpose. My goal is to continue to educate myself to learn, unlearn, and relearn the best that I can. And that's the goal. So Coos Freedom Friday is going to be my opportunity to create a platform for myself and others to ask questions. And if I don't know, we can learn together. And if I do know, then I'll share what I've learned. And what I've learned is not the end all be all of all knowings, but what I've learned is enough for me to reposition myself to a jurisdiction outside of corporate control, outside of tyranny. And there's a quote that says, when tyranny becomes legal, rebellion becomes mandatory. That's my goal, is to rebel by learning, unlearning, relearning, and helping others do the same. So in my community, we need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And the best way to do that is together. So that's it for me. That's all I have to share. This is short. We don't have a lot of people in the room, but we do have a couple of guests. So if my guests tonight would like to share anything, or if they have questions or concerns, then now is the time to speak up, to either reveal yourself or not reveal yourself is up to you. You can put you can put your question in the chat, or you can participate. But my goal is to do this weekly and help others help themselves while I continue to help myself. So if you live in the community called Coos County, it's not the county of Coos, that's a corporation. But if you live in Coos County and you're a man or woman and you're living off the land, which means you're attempting to grow your own fruit or vegetables, your food, your sustenance, your herbs, your medicine, if you're tapped into a spring of water or a well, or maybe you are interested in hydration or creating a hydrated community, if you want to learn about plant-based nutrition, detox, and recalibration of the mind, the body, the spirit, then my community of friends and family is exactly where you want to be, because we are restoring the republic, but that means learning how to be self-governed, meaning that only God has authority, only our creator, the universe, the universe, the one verse, the one song that sings in all of our hearts. Right now is the time for us to restore that verse inside of our hearts. Know that song that says, we are free, we are sovereign under God on this land, the beautiful land of America. We are restoring the republic. Whether or not you're going to contribute is up to you. It's going to happen. It's already happening. One could say it's already happened. Who knows? We just have to feel as though it's already here, and then we will integrate ourselves with that frequency. That's how it works. So thank you for those of you who showed up. I really, really, really appreciate you. I'm going to put this recording onto social media so others can enjoy and see it also. And then, of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, private message, if you want me to talk about a certain particular subject. Now, to be a free person, you are already a free person. The goal is for you to know it inside of your heart and your soul, and then for you to broadcast that message to others so they can know that they're free as well as they stand and breathe on God's green earth. I love you. I'll see you very soon. You guys have a great night. Thank you very much. Thank you.